What's up, you amazing hackers? I hope you're all doing well today. It's really important that you guys know how to look for logic flaws, so we're going to give you guys some more examples today. Let's get right into it, shall we? Now, it's really important that you look for logic flaws because those are one of the things that robots cannot easily detect. If you put automation on a target, it's going to be able to detect some really technical stuff, but all of this stuff it's going to really have trouble with, you know. So we are going to solve these labs for you guys, and we're going to show you where these weaknesses lie. Now, these labs are very real. They are based on real targets, I think, because all of these exceptions could be possible, you know. These are things you have to test for. So the first one is lab inconsistent handling of exceptional input. The lab doesn't adequately validate user input. You can exploit a logic flaw in its account registration progress to gain access to administrative functionality. To solve the lab, access the admin panel and delete Carlos. So of course we're going to follow the solution in here. There is a big logic flaw in this one. If you register with your account, so you have a register page here, but we're going to copy this page real quick, and we're going to do this in the burp browser that we opened. So to open this burp browser, we just go to the proxy tab, to intercept, and we open the browser. Now when we do that, we should be able to see something coming in our HTTP history, and we do, and that's because we have our target set up properly. We only log any websecurityacademy.net emails, I mean of course requests. So for this one we have to register, of course, but we have to register, and if we go back, you see if you work for WannaCry, please use your don'twannacry.com email address. Now we don't have that email address. We have an email client here on the top. By the way, I switched back to the proper Chrome window. What we're going to do here real quick is, since we see some traffic and we're going to explore the site some more, we're going to the sitemap, and we're going to go to engagement tools, and we're going to discover content. Now this is like brute forcing directories, and a lot more than just directories. If we go to the customization here, you can see it's looking for files and directories. Of course you can change this if you really want to. You can give your own custom file list. That's really powerful for some targets, because if everybody uses like the same word list that you find online, but you've created your own word lists, that's going to give you a huge advantage. And of course you can also split that up in a file list and a directory list. Now for file extensions, you can pick what it's going to look for. This can be really useful if you know what your target is written in. If your target is written in ASP, it's really useful that it's looking for ASP pages, but if you know that your target is written in PHP, of course this is not useful. And for the discovery engine, this is also pretty important. Some targets require you to hold your traffic back a little bit, and you can do that with the number of discovery threads and the spider threads. Now if we go and look at the sitemap, we can see some functionality here, like the admin page. That could be interesting, but we do get a 401 for that. So let's go to the admin page, of course in the correct browser window. So here we go, let's go to the admin page, and we see here that the admin interface is only available if logged in as a don'twannacry user. Now we don't have a don'twannacry user email address, so we do have an email client here. Let's open that real quick. In the email client we can see that this is displaying all the mails that are sent to this email address. So we're going to copy our email address, of course that's pretty important, and we're going to register for an account. So just test as a username, the email address is going to be test@, and the password is going to be test1234. Oh no, you guys know my password now, please don't hack me. So let's save that real quick, and let's go to the exploit server. Again, we're just going to refresh this page, and then we have an activation link in here. When we click this activation link, we notice that we are successfully registered, so we can log in now as our user. There we go, and we have an account page. Now if I go to my admin account, if we go there, we can still not enter it because we're not a don'twannacry user. Now if we go back real quick to the solution here, there we go. What we have to do is enter a really long email address. This is basically like an overflow lab. So we have to find email address from this ad. So we just copied that email address and we have to put a very long string in front of it. So at least 200 characters long. So we're going to do that. We're going to log out of this account and we're going to register a new one. We're going to call this one test2 or to test, whatever. And we're going to get our email address again. And this time we're going to get a very long string. Now I'm going to get a character counter here. It's just an online character counter. And we can see how many characters we have in front of that. So let's not get annoying here, Google. There we go. We're just going to go to lettercount.com and we're just going to write a very long text. So just some bullshit here. Just see how many characters this is. This is 63. That won't be enough. So we're going to just copy and paste that up a couple of times. 315. This is more than 200. So we'll paste that in there. Here we go. And we're registering with a long email address. Now, if we check our exploit server email address again, we're going to refresh our page and we have a new account registration email. There we go. Now we're going to log in as this email address and we're going to go to my account. And as you can see, this email address is concatenated. Whatever was behind here fell off. So we can use this to our advantage by adding an @don'twannacry.com.our email address to it. Now this is going to register us, but we need to get the exact character count here. So we have to make sure that @don'twannacry.com is exactly the 255th character. So we'll just copy and paste some stuff here in our letter counter real quick, so we can count that. Let's see, we have to have 245 characters, and we have to make sure that the M at the end, so this one is exactly the 255th character. So that's what we're going to do. And we only have to worry about the thing before the So before the email id.websecurityacademy.net, we only have to worry about the part in front of that. So we'll paste this in here, and as you can see, it's only 17 characters long. So we're going to add some characters here until we reach 255. Going to pick Carlos here because we can easily manipulate how many Carloses we have. Let's see, that's still not enough. Let's make some more. There we go. Count characters, almost there. Count characters, 209, so we're almost there. 239, a couple more, and we're 257, so we'll just delete 2 characters here, and we have 255 characters. So what we're going to do is copy this email address. We're going to delete this account, we don't need it anymore. We're going to register. We're going to register with another username, so let's pick something here, it doesn't really matter. We'll put this as our email address, and then we also of course have to make sure, let's go back here, there we go. We also have to make sure that this part of the email address is copied as well, because it has to go to our server, but we don't want to add an character at the end. So let's go back to, sorry there guys, let's go back to here. There we go. Now if I paste this, you can see that the add is still here. We just want to replace this with a point, and then the password will be the same. It doesn't really matter. When we've registered, there we go. Let's log in real quick as this guy. That's not the correct password. Oh crap, I don't know which user I have anymore. Alright, I still need to, of course, activate that user. So we're going to go back to our client. Can I see my username in here? I cannot. Crap, that's not good. We'll have to do this again. So let's register again. We'll use the same email address this time. Is this user correct? Let's see, we'll click. This seems to be correct, so we'll just use a proper username that we can remember here. Test123, that way. There we go. Same email address. Check your email address for the link, so we'll do that real quick. There we go, new email address, and we'll log in as test123. test 1 2 3, and the password is just the same. Let's log in real quick. There we go. And when we look at this, we have our admin panel. Now, why is this happening? It's because our email address is noted at don'twannacry.com. Now, this is really interesting behavior, because when we go to the admin panel, we can delete all of these users here. Of course, we only need to delete Carlos to save this. Then we have completed the labs and we have accessed the admin panel. This is a really interesting logic vulnerability. I hope you guys learned something from this. We'll move on to the next one. This one is also pretty interesting. A bit more simple, but let's go and check it out real quick. So, inconsistent handling of exceptions. That one is not the correct tab. Here we go. Inconsistent security controls. This one is a pretty interesting one. Now, when we access the labs real quick, there we go. I'm going to just paste this in here. We should do the same, like we should do content discovery, but I already know there's going to be an admin panel. So when we go to the admin panel, we get the same error here. So let's just try and register normally. So let's get test in here. An email address doesn't really matter. We just have to make sure that we have the correct, there we go, correct email address from the ad. Now let's copy this. We register with an email address, doesn't really matter, test ad, and then we give it a password. There we go. Now when we are registered, we have to, of course, activate this again. So we'll look at our email client. We have a new email address and we are activated. Now, if we do log in as this user, there we go, we'll try to log in. You can see under my account that you can change your email address. And they actually don't really check what kind of email address you enter here. So we'll change our email address to one of the workers there. So we'll add at, let me see here, at don't wanna cry. There we go. Go to the ad. There we go, at don'twannacry.com. We'll just add this as our email address. We'll make it test ad, update email. And when we do that, we get to see the admin panel again. This was really awesome. I really like this vulnerability because this is something that could happen in real life. You have two systems that operate independently of each other, and they really have to check their integrations, and that doesn't happen in every single target. That's really important to realize, that if you have two independent systems, it's really hard, and I say this as a QA tester, it's really hard to actually test the interaction between those two components. Now, why is that? It's because often those components are created by a different team. That's really important. And often those components are not created at the same time. That's also really important, because if they're, first of all, not created by the same team, it's really important to know that the communication in companies isn't always perfect, and there are going to be a lot of vulnerabilities that you can find between those integration points. So always look out for that. And it's also really important that they are often older features, and then they build a new feature that's related. Often the specs are not very clear on those features, those older features. So it's really important to know that you have to really look for those integration points, and that's often where you're going to find vulnerabilities. Sorry I repeated that so often. Let's continue, delete our user, and we've solved our lab again. Pretty easy one, but really cool to do. Now on to the next one, weak isolation on dual use endpoint. This is also a pretty cool one. Let's access the labs real quick, open this in a tab, and then we'll go to, let's see if it loads the correct page, of course. There we go. We'll open this again in our proper Chrome window where it's capturing everything. And one thing I'm going to do, the content discovery is still running. I don't need this anymore for this page, but you guys can see what all of this stuff is. You know, content discovery gives you a lot of stuff back. And it's, in my opinion, of course, you really need to run your own tools, like your brute forcing for your directories. You really need to run those. It's important that you do, like FUF or WFuzz or whatever tool you want to use. It's really important, but this can be a really good really good extra for those tools, you know, because this also finds files really easily, and it's just one click of a button. And I can vouch for Portswigger that they have some really good word lists in there. So I would really recommend that you guys do content discovery as well, if it's possible, of course. Now for this lab, I'm going to really quickly have to see AC130. We're going to go back to our proxy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to, of course, we have to create an account. We don't have one in this one. Let's go back to the labs real quick. There we go. We have an account here for Wiener Peter. So let's log in. Wiener. And the password is Peter. Let's do this properly. There we go, log in, and let's save this. Now let's go to my account. Here we have some options again. We can update the password and we can update the email. Now for this one, I want to update the password because the vulnerability is going to be in there. So let's make a new password in here. Test 1 2 3 4. Change password, and now I really want you guys to pay attention because this is going to be really important for you. There's a post call in here, a post to log in, and a post to my account change password. Now in this post request, you can see a username, a current password, a new password, and a new password too. Of course, these are going to have to be the same, the current password and the username. We're going to send this to the repeater. Now it's really important that you always do this. What I want you to do is always go to the account page, see what you can change in here, and then play around with fields. Why is this so important? I'll show you. Because if you take away the current password in this laboratory, there we go, and you just have a new password 1 and 2, we'll send this request and we get back an OK. So this is a very important vulnerability, and it's going to be a critical because there's a username in here, a new password 1 and a new password 2. We can change any username that we want. Let's go back to the labs real quickly. So we have an administrator account, so we'll copy this username. We'll give him a new password 1 2 3 4. There we go, we get a 200 OK back. And what we can do now is we can let's update this password, log out. We can log in again, and we can log in as the administrator because we changed the password to test 1 2 3 4. And when we log into the administrator, if we can change anybody's password, that's a very serious vulnerability. Now to solve this lab, all you have to do is delete Carlos. There we go, and it's solved. I always want you guys to go and play around with the vulnerability, with the parameters in all of these post requests. Now what do I mean with play around? I mean delete them, change them, like here, change the username. If you see in the response that there is a JSON, and there's a JSON in the request as well, and the JSON might contain files in the might contain parameters in the response that are not in the request, then it's really important that you try to copy those and change them. Like for example, you might have this here, and you might have a JSON returned like this. I'm going to quickly give you guys an example. So let's, I don't know if I can delete this all, probably not. You might get this returned, 200, okay, and then like this, and then maybe also let's see here, and admin equals false. You might get this returned. Then it's really important that you copy this parameter into your other into your request, and you change it to true, and this might give you some really good vulnerabilities, guys. So I'm giving away some of my secrets here. Use them wisely. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would really appreciate a like and a sub, because you guys, first of all, you're awesome. I've gained so much subs in these days that it's impossible for me to even fathom how fast I'm growing. So thank you very much. The Red Pack is becoming a big force to be reckoned with. You guys are so amazing. If you want, you can join our Discord. It's going to be in the description below. We have over 500 members already. You guys are amazing. I love you all, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye everybody, see you later.